Oh no. Hello, my name is Chris Fair. Welcome to my channel. It's 5:02 on November 10th. It's Monday. We are going to talk about Sister Wives. It's season 20. It's episode 7. This is called You're Like the Stripper, I'm Like the Pole. And we know that Robin said that. Robin said that about Kody's dancing abilities, or lack thereof. Or lack thereof. Um I was happy to get the only good part of Meri's segment being like that weird Kody Brown letter. And then I can read it to you. Now, this is what's great about it is that, we obviously don't have, I'm just going to wipe this off. We obviously don't have these lovely ex lovers ever having like scenes together. So the ways in which the producers can kind of have scenes with these like artifacts is actually very interesting. For as much as I don't like a Meri and Jen scene, Jen didn't have to be there for them to have this letter. And the funny thing is, we're gonna get to it. When Jen finds it, she's like, "Do you want me to read it?" And I was like, "Yeah, what are you there for?" Yes, because they show it, and I'm gonna read it. So, hello, we're just gonna let people trickle in. Hello, how are you? Happy holidays. It's November. It was a beautiful harvest moon. Um, It's the start of the week. Sister Wives is today, and we get to talk about 90 Day Fiance the other way tomorrow at the same time. And then on Thursday, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives drops on Hulu, and then we can talk about that over the weekend. So lots of little trinkets. It's almost like an advent calendar, if you will, on this YouTube and or Facebook page that you are on. If you are able to, would you mind just giving it a little thumbs up? Just telling that algorithm you enjoy wherever you are. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the notification bell, just like and comment. It's like the freest, easiest way to really get into the holiday spirit, to really give me something. Before I fret about it too much, I am dealing with some congestion. So if you hear something in my like nose and throat and you're like, that's not the best sound, that's me. I'm gonna try and keep it on the DL, and but that is what's happening, and I'm sure you can tell. But we're gonna get into Sister Wives. I've been really excited to talk about this season. It's so funny because as I spend my life watching this stupid show, it's interesting in that, I will go on to the Reddits, and Reddit Sister Wives people are hilarious. First of all, so many interesting takes. Obviously, they detest Robin and they think Kody is wild. For a long time, it was like Kody's a narcissist. But there was like this one Reddit person that gave a hardcore, gorgeous, kind of like nuanced answer about how she thinks, I think it was a she, um, it could be a he, I'm so sorry, that they think that Kody is an undiagnosed ADHD. This is from Heather. Heather is weird. So, wildly unpopular opinion. Kody is not a narcissist. What you are seeing is severe, untreated ADHD inside a fundamentalist culture that never taught him emotional skills or even acknowledged the disorder exists. Untreated ADHD in adult men often looks selfish, chaotic, and immature. Again, I'm reading to you a comment by a lovely lady. I think this is on Instagram or TikTok, named Heather is Weird. I just really thought it was astute. So I'm just going to keep reading. Untreated ADHD in adult men often looks selfish, chaotic, and immature. By the way, I have been untreated ADHD for a long time, and now I am treated, but I also feel like I wonder if this could be the same. So interesting. Anyway, the brain is so loud that they cannot stay present long enough to hear anyone. Emotional deregulation is constant. They crave approval because they were corrected their whole childhood. That part, not so much. Well, kind of. They act social for me, for him, sure. They act socially young because ADHD delays emotional development. They forget details, miss cues, talk over people, and look self centered even when it's not intentional. It also causes accidental lying. Well, I don't know about this for me, but here we are. Working memory fails, so the brain fills in missing pieces. Time blindness warps timelines. Ugh. They remember the feeling, not the facts, and they genuinely believe What they say, because their brain never stored the moment properly. Okay. Now imagine all that inside a church that denies ADHD entirely. No tools, no diagnosis, no support, no emotional development, just pressure to perform and please. Kody looks like a narcissist, but he's actually an overwhelmed kid in a grown man's body who never got the skills neurodivergent kids usually learn. He is not manipulative. Well, I don't know about that part. He is deeply unregulated, untreated, and raised in an environment that never helped him grow up. So he's just that weird, annoying kid on the playground that nobody wants to spend time with, and he really has no idea why, because he's wired differently. Now, when I read that, I was like, ooh, for like 1 billion reasons. A, I've already hinted, it felt like a direct blow to my face, but also B, I also can see that for Kody. And then C, I read that comment. Yeah, Kody. Right? That sounds like Kody, right? When I read that comment, it was before I watched last night's episode. So, like, I read that comment, let's just say over the weekend. Okay. So then I watched last night's episode and I'm like, with the dancing and everything, and he starts to say, like, he can't remember the steps and all that stuff about the dancing, and I was like, oh my god. Okay. Hi. Hello. I'm so excited people are here. 20 people in the room. Please like the video. Let's go on the linear path of the story. So the episode starts. You're like a stripper. I'm like a pole. This is, of course, Season Wives, Season 20, Episode 7. My name is Chris Farah. Hi. Meri and Jen are going through her boxes of wedding stuff. And, it's funny because we are obviously at, the inn, and we're in Parowan. They love showing us kitschy, fun things at Parowan. Like, they show us this really cute cafe. And for a moment, I'm like, are we going to go in that cafe? No, we're back at Meri's house. She has everything. She's kept all of it. You know what I'm saying? All of the things from her life prior. And this is hard because what do you do with old stuff? Especially, what do you do with old stuff that has people involved that you no longer see and or represent hurt to you? It's so weird. So we get a lot of, we get a lot of flashbacks, and it comes in the form of the videos that we've already seen, stills and stuff of Meri and Kody when they first got married, and the pictures, and when they first got and when they first got married, when they first were hanging out. We get more information, and some of the things that happen in this, some of the details that we get in this episode, none of them are new, but it's interesting because over 20 seasons you forget certain things and then they hit you and you're like, oh my god. So we'll go into that. Now, the reception for the wedding was at the church. That makes sense, at the gym at the church. And the way that Meri describes the wedding is she didn't want to be there. She was really socially anxious because this is her parents' crazy ass, I mean, God bless, not really, but community, I'm saying, wild ass Mormon fundamentalist church. She doesn't know anyone. They're all invited. She has to have a line where she has to literally say hi to all these people. And she's like, oh, she doesn't want to do it. And when she described that, I was kind of like, girl, well, that part literally happens at every person's wedding. I feel like, well, not every. A lot of people plan their own wedding. A lot of people have intimate weddings. A lot of people, like whatnot, have destination weddings. But for a lot of like ethnic peeps or like people in communities, like a lot of weddings, especially in the olden times, would be celebrations for the family. And so, yeah, like, especially if the parents are paying for it, they're going to invite people and kind of like you go around and you say hi to everyone. It's like a known thing. I don't know why Meri was so anti that. It's interesting because it's kind of like, well, girl, you have to host one day. Well, yes, one day. She's 19. Maybe that's intense. Now, I'll tell you, she said she made her wedding dress and they take out the wedding dress. And I'll tell you, I could never make a wedding dress. And she, with her like 19-year-old hands, did this with her grandmother. And yeah, it looked beautiful on her. I think she did a really, really good job. Kody and her during this time look really similar. They almost look like brother and sister, although, God bless, it's a similar culture of people. It's funny because after this little like trip down memory lane of Meri's, where she was like, I was uncomfortable, but this is what happened. And there were some other things that happened between her and Kody. They start this life together. They go right from Meri's flashback to Robin's flashback. Robin's flashback is a quick producer question of being like, Do you have happy memories from your wedding day? And Robin goes like this. Uh, well, I was happy I accomplished a goal. So Robin then goes on to say, in no uncertain words, that she was a miserable victim of her wedding where she didn't have any fun or love because she was somewhat preoccupied with other people's experience of it. And she doesn't say any of this, but this is what I'm picking up on, that the other people were the kids and most notably the other wives. And so she was like, I really wanted everyone to feel emotionally safe. Because there's like lore that there might have been some hanky-panky between Kody and Robin before they got married, and because we know that she was, like, given, like, a wild honeymoon that other people weren't given and such, it's so funny for her to, like, be like, "I couldn't even enjoy my wedding. I couldn't even." The real deal is I couldn't even enjoy my wedding because I was such a martyr for other people's happiness. The if she didn't want people to hate her, she's not doing a good job. It feels like every time Robin sets foot, I guess, on set or on camera, her chief goal, if her goal at her wedding was for everyone to feel emotionally safe, her chief goal in filming Sister Wives now is just to make people hate her. She answers nothing, she gives nothing, she hates her life, hates being there, she hates Kody. I mean, I she hates Kody. We'll get into it. So, Christine, had her wedding dress and her wedding moment, and she was third wife, and she didn't really enjoy it, and she also talked about the fact that she dressed really frumpy back in those days because she wore her garments. Now, we don't talk about garments a lot, even though, coming up, we're gonna have 2 out of the 3 shows I talk about on this channel be Mormony. But, you know, well, mm, from my understanding, and I really want anyone to tell me I'm wrong. You know how there is, like, levels to everything? So there's, like, levels to Mormonism, like, and, like, some things are like, oh, real strict and real orthodoxy or, orthodox in the sense of strict or traditional, and some things are totally okay and we're, like, allowing it, and sometimes outside people, like, don't know what's real and or what's really important to adhere to and what's not. For instance, don't we kinda feel that way sometimes if we like, about the Islamic faith, for instance, a woman wearing a hijab or not, right? Doesn't make a difference in her own relationship with God. But other people could make judgments, I guess, whether she covers or not. Now, interestingly enough, like in the Mormon faith, they have garments, which again, I'm not Mormon, but are like very chaste, hard to penetrate underwear that you wear under your clothes, like almost maybe even shorts or something, where, yeah, it's keeping your privates for God, kind of a little bit, keeping you private, keeping you modest. It's some sort of thing for that, except that just like women, I want to know, are men wearing garments in the Mormon faith? I would just like to know that. So when Christine talks about dressing frumpy, and it's because of the garments, she also gets to like tell Kody that she doesn't wanna wear them anymore, and he's like, "Well, how's your relationship with God?" She's like, "Fine. Cool. Guess what? He's gonna be so happy when I get to dress cute." We've talked about it. He wants me to dress cute. He wants me to just go and get some, like, cute boy shorts. I don't know why I said it like that, boy shirts. I love these boy shorts from Maidenform, which is such a funny name for underwear, but I really love them. If you are looking for just like one of those cottony packs of underwear where you don't have to spend too much money and it comes in something, I love them. I find them so comfortable. And then I also do like the negative underwear, the whipped stuff, and that is expensive. Moving on. Um, Christine's wedding dress, though, she said she had given the flower adornments to McKelty. There was basically scraps, and she was so happy about that. And I was like, yeah, she like gave of it. There's nothing left and nothing to hold on to. Christine is like, I mean, I think she might still have her wedding dress. I wonder if she's thinking that she can, like, give other scraps to other daughters. Feels like a very Christine thing to do. So, here is the letter. We're going to read it in its entirety. Dear best friend, Meri, in parentheses, which I think is so funny. Again, he's only married to Meri right now. This is what, Mary's, of course, as I said, bringing up wedding things with Jen. She finds this letter and Jen was going to read it, but then she didn't let Jen read it, but she let the whole camera crew take a picture. I'm going to give Kody this for someone who has ADHD. He did try and write legibly. Now, when I get into this, I feel like he misspelled the word need as an NEAD. We'll get into that, which is troublesome. But he's doing that thing where it's all uppercase, which I do now too as a way to like make sure that I people can read it because if it's cursive, people cannot read my writing. Okay. Here it is. Dear best friend, parentheses, Meri, parentheses. I'm very sorry I'm not here for you this morning. Although I'm at work, my heart is with you. I got to bed at 2 a.m. and and this is where it's like, how did you spell that? To leave at 6:15 a.m. I'll be home about 4:30 p.m. Okay, a lot of times. Try to get some rest or kind of, before then so that we can spend the late afternoon together. I'm sorry that our work is keeping us apart, but it will make us tough. And we, this is what he says. I sorry, I wrote this one. I wrote into it. Okay, make us, but it will make us tough, and we do need to make some sacrifices. Keep your head up and a smile on your face. You are always so pretty when you smile. Oh, keep a positive attitude through our trials and you'll become a stronger person. The way he spells stronger is like what also happened there, but God bless it. If you get down because life is a little bit difficult, just remember how much I love you. That I'll deny later, that I'll pretend never happened. That should keep you warm inside. Okay, maybe that's probably the cringiest line of the whole letter. The Lord wants us to be stronger. If you get down because life is a little bit difficult, just remember how much I love you. That should keep you warm inside. I love you tons and gobs. Your bestest friend and buddy, your husband and loving chum, your mate for life and eternity, Kody Brown. Well, I mean, some of those things, not so much, not some of those, not as much, my love. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being here as I read all of that. Okay, so basically, during this time, like, Kody's like, I'll tell you, Meri was insecure. I had to do so much just to keep her self-esteem up. And you like in this letter, she's like, yeah, I remember that letter. It's when he hung out with his friend too long. And it feels like what had happened was he hung out with his friend and he knew that she was upset that they weren't hanging out. So then he came home, got up quickly to go to work, wrote her this letter being like, sorry for being mad at me. Don't be mad at me. Just be tougher, be stronger. That's what the God wants. And remember to keep a smile on your face because that's what the most important thing is. And that's what I think is pretty about you. Ooh! Anyway, so all of it's just like not the funnest. So we get a scene of Kody and Robin going to an American restaurant. It's called Atria. And we get another like date scene. And I don't know why, because Robin hates him. And in this situation, Kody's like, I'm so happy because kids just are always drawing Robin's attention, like, she's always just like so tired. So we get to go out to a restaurant where I could be the kid that's trying to get her attention. Ha ha ha. And then he says this joke. This is again the second date we've seen with Robin where he just wants to like have Robin talk about sex with him all the time at the date. And she's like, absolutely not. And I'll tell you exactly what that means. So he jokes when they first sit down that the kids keeping her up at night. And they're always coming in for attention. And he's like, well, I wish I was, the one keeping you up instead of the kids. And then Robin doesn't know that she means sex. And then she's like, Yeah, no, I would appreciate that too because she just thinks that he means, like, to hang out with, and he laughs, like, "You would?" And then she's like, "Yeah." He's just God bless him. Um, they get into what is the crux of their conversation and the entire episode about Kody's dancing, which if you were here for the beginning of this video when we talked about Kody's perhaps undiagnosed ADHD, this became hilarious. I'm gonna blow my nose. I also got some fresh holiday Botox, so blowing my nose with Botox in my forehead is like LOL. And you saw that. Okay. So basically, Robin's like, I'm just a cool girl. Like, I love dancing. Like, I just want to dance to 90s music. And I was like, what kind of 90s music? Because I like 90s music. And Robin, we're like not the same age. Anyway, early 90s music. She means like Devo, right? Like Whip It. She's that kind. She's like, right? I mean, I'm just saying. She's like Duran Duran. You know how there's like lots of 90s kids? And I like Duran Duran, but Duran Duran was certainly older than me. Like I mean, I obviously was around for Michael Jackson, and I like Michael Jackson, but when I think of, like, 90s music, like, I feel like she means those kind of people. She doesn't mean, like, Luscious Jackson, and she doesn't mean, like, Fiona Apple or Sarah McLachlan or anything that was Lilith Fair. So, Kody says he loves rock and roll, and they kind of harken back to their time at the church. Their church obviously was very traditional, and then Kody says some interesting things like there was no dancing involved, just like not Flashdance, Footloose. There was a mayor, he was the elder of the church. He said no dancing. But there might have been some like jives that Brigham Young did that they got to do. It's this is where I get a little murky because I know that Mormonism has like Nordic lore. And so when and or maybe like Nordic and or Celtic, right? So when Kody says that maybe they were allowed dances that Brigham Young did, like I want to know if that's like step dancing esque looking folk country music kind of thing. Like what does that look like what they did in the Titanic when Rose showed them up downstairs? Like I need to know what kind of dance Brigham Young did. That's really interesting. I want to know how come there hasn't been. Or maybe you can tell me, maybe you have to watch Big Love. Like, I really want kind of like a very fair and like deep dive look into like early Mormons or what it looked like. Anyway, I just find it fascinating, obviously. So during this conversation, he's like, "So, when I would go to church, I would have to do the boring dances, but when we're back at my ranch and my barn, I would do the rock and roll," he would say. When someone says like just the word rock and roll, it's like such a big genre. It's like, what kind? Are you Queen? Are you Poison? Are you Elvis? Like, like there's so right. And this gets on to the fact that Kody is a very singular person and I think has a hard time relating to people. And I think that polygamy probably was incredibly attractive because it gives you an instant family. And if you are the male, you are literally the patriarch. They have to listen to you, whatever you want to do. And there is like with the multiple wives, a propensity to just keep marrying until you find one you really like and then using them all against each other. And then there's the other things that we know about Kody, like he tends to like kids up until like a certain age and then like can't quite tolerate or deal with them or like have to like relate to them in their minds or connect with them like in a present way. And going back to that very long-winded but absolutely astute comment about perhaps him having like, and again, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I don't know the difference. I kind of do. One can give you medicine. I'm not either. I'm not saying he is. I am. But I will say that it's interesting to see how he relates to people, how he feels safe with people, how much validation he needs. And then also the dancing. His dancing is frantic and it's frenetic. It is hard to follow. It's hard to dance with. You can't share space with that kind of dancing because he does this thing called the pump, and they all know it. Christine's like, the pump. Janelle's like, he does that thing called the pump, where he kind of just kicks, and it's a very like Elaine from Seinfeld dance. He kind of kicks his legs and punches his arms. And where Elaine is slower moving about it and kind of crisscrossy, he's a maniac on that dance floor. I mean, he's a maniac. I mean, he is someone you can't share space with, literally. Like, where would you put your body in the space with Kody dancing? You'll get hit. There's no like sexy dancing. There's no like backing it up. There's no like, okay, what's happening? There's no like, oh, yeah. Like, it looks like he's going to hit you. And so what ends up happening is that you just kind of sit there and look at him while he parades around you like a maypole. Now that's a nice way of saying it, but what of course Robin says is that you're like a stripper and I'm like a pole. Now that makes Robin uncomfortable. Of course Cody's like, Robin is grace itself. Robin, have you seen her? She's an ABT soloist. Robin, like, just or yeah, Susan Farrell or Misty Copeland come to life. I mean, that's Robin. And I mean, literally, like the sun and moon rise and fall with her, whatever she says is right. And it's funny because Robin has been, in our eyes, not rebuilding Cody's absolutely decimated self esteem. In fact, even in this moment, she's like, you can't dance and I can't dance with you. And and you just make it so awkward, so hard. It's cringy, it's embarrassing. And then he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm going to talk about? Sex. Why don't we do tango? Tango is a vertical expression of it. What is it? What is it, Robin? I'll make you say it. What is it? Well, tango is a vertical expression of a horizontal wish. Wish, Robin. Yeah. I wish we could get more. Shut up, Kody. Like that is like what's happening. She calls his dancing exuberant. Uh-huh. And they decide to take dance lessons. And it's funny because dance lessons in itself is like a major form of control. It's like he doesn't seem like he wants control. They need to just have like some partner lessons, maybe to see if they can like add it to his arsenal. But from everything that Kody has said, he does not want to be controlled by the church. He wants to do the dances he wants to do. He wants somehow, but he understands that he is failing in letting Robin feel comfortable dancing with him. And I think there's a part of his mind and processes that doesn't trust anything that he once knew. And whereas once he was like, I dance the way I dance, any woman could just dance around it. He's like, Robin's all I have left. If she says I don't dance well, I don't dance well. I can't dance. So he decides to go with her. So, and then when they go to that dance shop at the museum store, let's talk about it. So they go to get dance lessons at a place called the Museum Club on Route 66 with two people who, God bless, were there. And I'm just, Flagstaff, Arizona maybe just isn't a place where like major partner dancing does. But even these dance teachers dancing and dancing with each other were stiff. I was like, you're going to learn from these peeps. These people are stiff. And also, side note is, since this whole season started, I have been secretly fiending for Kody to consider going on Dancing with the Stars because he's already on Army with the Stars. Have you been watching Special Forces? That's basically Army with the Stars, right? Go to the Army, enlist, become a new recruit with the Stars. And he loved it. I mean, so far. I mean, I don't want to give any spoilers, but that man was like real into it. Feel like he like got prepared for it. And in that realm, I was like, well, I think that I would also love to watch him on Dancing with the Stars. It wasn't until this episode that I was like, oh, there's a lot of like problems when it comes to dancing in his religion. And then I was like, well, here's the other thing. He wouldn't be able to be on Dancing with the Stars because now I realize unless Robin's okayed it, or he okayed it, or got whatever, it would be considered uh not rude. Yeah, rude or inappropriate because he's married, right? Because Robin is not going to be who he's going to be paired with. He's going to be paired with someone else. Anyway, so all this to say, I was like, I do want him on Dancing with the Stars. And it's interesting that they're giving him dancing lessons. And I do realize how bad this man would be. And he is hard, 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 hard to teach. He's like, I can't remember a thing. I have to, run things, just like, put him in, put him in, put him in. It's really difficult for him. And you actually start to see a little bit of panic in his eyes because this isn't the first time that he's come up against a situation where he realizes he has to like really put his focus on. So basically, we get a little bit of going back in between to Janelle's house, North Carolina. The biggest news is that she's enjoying her life, honey, because Christine is in one place and most of the kids are now with Janelle. Peyton's there. Now, Peyton is there, and I think that he said that he went to like the local church and he wanted to meet a girl. And by this point, he certainly has. He's met a girl, and he's into her, which is great. Her name is Ava. And then we see Gabriel, and Gabriel has met a lovely lady. Her name is Bree. Bree, however, he didn't meet her at church. He slid into those DMs, and then Savannah's like, modern love story. And I'm like, oh, good. Fun for all the kids. Yes, they're all enjoying themselves with their snappy banter. Gabe's going to move to Chicago in 9 months. I mean, if they're still together. And then Maddie says that Hunter has no prospects. Now, I think Hunter is dating someone by this time because I think this is like back in the day. Hunter is so handsome, and so is Logan. I mean, all these boys are handsome, so good for them. But, we don't get to see Logan and Hunter as much. Maddie is pregnant. Very, 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 very pregnant. She's over it. And Janelle's like, over this one, but I actually want you to have more. Janelle has just like seen her future, and her future is just farms and babies. And I get it. I get Janelle being like, I'm perfect. I'm happy. This is so much better than Coyote Pass. When I think that Janelle has to watch these episodes of Robin being like, Coyote Pass, the dream that wasn't. Oh, Coyote Pass. I wish. Oh, Coyote Pass. It's so sad. Never happened in like, whatever. And Janelle has to be like, I'm so thankful Coyote Pass didn't come to fruition. Now I get to be on this farm with the people I really care about, with everyone knowing who's cool and who's not, and who wouldn't piss on us if we were fucking on flames, and who would. It's interesting because like the final conversation, which I guess I'll talk about it this entire episode, of like Cardi B. Kody B is just like Cardi B. Kody B either being a narcissist or being like ADHD, is that it's hard for me to think that like, and again, I'm operating from arguably one of those places, are ADHD, that he wouldn't see all the pain on the faces of his own children and therein understand his accountability and how his choices emotionally hurt people. Because I don't understand how he just wouldn't feel empathy for his own children. Like that's the only thing that makes him feel like narcissist like narcissist. No, it's a person, narcissist. Okay. So basically, Janelle and the family also go over Maddie's birth plan. We get to see Evie, which is one of Maddie's children. She has Axel, and Evie like listens. Evie has a lot of questions. Caleb, who is Maddie's husband, is like, yeah, we're going to have a birthing suite. Let me tell you, Evie, one thing about your mom, she loves giving birth in the middle of the night. I mean, the clock strikes midnight and she's like, good, 3 hours and I'm popping this one out. Get ready. And Evie's like, well, why do you have to stay there? And they're like, well, we have to be, we're being observed. And she's like, why do you have to be observed? And it's always a little scary for a child of that age to process that something might be dangerous, but people aren't letting you know. So they don't want you to worry. Because, you know, giving birth is dangerous, which sucks, which is so crazy. Like that is at the end of the day, the fact that giving birth is dangerous, and by that I mean for the female giving birth, also the child, the baby, and the mother giving birth, it's dangerous because there's been multiple instances where people have died. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but it certainly happens enough that it just is one of those things at the end of the day that I'm like, I cannot believe that there is still a world in which like females have like we're not equal. Like we don't get paid the same. Like that men treat us so shittily, that like we aren't valued. That I mean, low key, the reason, low key, one of the reasons why I think that men should pay, this is like cisgender heterosexual situations, for women is because we die giving birth. No man comes and almost dies. So it's just that and that alone. I'm like, it will never be appreciated. And then, like, I hate that, like, women are like, yeah, 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 50-50. No, I almost will die giving birth for your kids, but I also, don't worry, we'll pay for half the dates. All right. Okay, girl. That's I mean, that's being raised, I think, in like a misogynistic patriarchal society, is you being told you have to give more than what you've already given and what you will be giving, and all that. That's just a different conversation for a different time. I hate it though. But anyway, Evie's like, that sounds scary. Okay, cool. I'm sure mommy will be all fine. I hope everything's fine. And later we'll have a conversation where Caleb's like, Axel, I know you don't want to have another sister, but it's really a blessing to have all these women because we get to just protect and provide for them. I want to be like, well, first of all, that is a blessing that you get to do. But the thing about what you should be telling Axel is sitting on a couch, fully hypermobile with his legs up, honey. And Evie's the one that's like asking the questions. So from these two people, I'm assuming that Evie is following in the footsteps of Janelle and Maddie by being a very smart, straightforward, analytical thinker. And something tells me Axel might be a little like Kody. And so, having said that, I feel like at the end of the day, Evie is going to be the one that's going to probably be protecting her brother. I'm just putting that out there. What do you guys think? So, we get another information piece where that Meri says that two things. A, we find out, there's all these things that we like find out. A, we know this. Janelle's mom is married to Kody's dad. Janelle was married to Meri's brother. Now, what exactly happened? I'll have to deep dive again. But they break up. And then, of course, Janelle, it becomes Kody's second wife. And, like, at the time, I think that Meri thought, although she knew that she was getting into a polygamous situation for the rest of her life, that she was going to have a little more time with Kody. And maybe she would have a couple more kids. And one lore is that when Janelle and Kody got married, they almost got married on Meri's birthday. And I think they changed it last minute. But Meri tells this story how Janelle's mom used a ring in one of her stones for a wedding ring for Meri so that she would feel involved, and how touched she was by that, how great she felt, and how like it was a really welcoming gesture, how she never even told Janelle that it was really kind. That's one ring story. And then we get another version of like the Celtic ring between Kody and Meri that they had given each other. Kody wanted and did melt down his ring and take out the jewels. And when he did, Meri was like, why would you do that? And he said, because he didn't want you to have claim on me. Kody said that Meri always wanted more, like maybe wanted more than the other wives, or wanted validation or ultimate understanding. I think that what happened probably was that Meri was 19 and she started a family with some man that just kept being like, you're my bestest friend, you're my best friend, you're my best friend. And then she would watch him marry other people. And then she'd be like, but you're still my best friend, right? And he was like, a little bit, and she felt that. And so I think she probably did want validation that we're still okay. But he was like, "No, we're not." And so all the validation felt like work for him because they weren't okay and he didn't want to be with her. And so instead of it being like, "Of course, babe, I love all you women. I still love you, Meri. I always have. And so you don't have to feel that. I don't mind telling you that I appreciate and think that you have a place in my heart, but he did. He did have a problem continually doing that because he hated lying. The love he felt for Meri feels like sentimental love, but that it quickly changed and he got stuck in situations that were uncomfortable and then he just tried to have it be dealt with by closing his eyes, putting his head in the sand, and having kids, and then kept having kids, married Christine, let all the like problems with the wives kind of like distract each other from each other while he like lived his life until he met Robin. And it was just too many cooks in the kitchen and too many wants and needs that became hard to balance. And then his own wants and needs were ultimately tied with Robin's happiness. Her happiness depended, right? Her happiness depended on his. So by that, everything that she wanted, he would want, and then it wasn't even, and it would never be. I didn't want you to have claim on me is a hard thing to tell someone who you have married because when you marry someone, it's kind of like the ultimate way of putting a claim on someone. I mean, I hate to say that, but it does feel that way. I mean, maybe I come from a monogamous life, but like, why if you are married to 4 women, you have to be okay with those 4 women having claims on you. So I don't understand Kody being like, I didn't want you to have claim on me when the answer is, well, they all do. He could be like, Meri thought that she had more claim on me. And then I'd be like, is that because she was the first wife? And is that why you decided to divorce her? And is that why you decided to use Robin as a way to like let the hierarchy be toppled? Because the truth of the matter is, that's going in, there's going to be repercussions for your actions. So you can't do them and then just get upset at the outcome. Especially if you do the actions with no recourse to like remedy the problems for other people. Meri, you divorced Meri. She was the first wife, and you wanted to melt down her ring, and then you wanted to be okay with it. She wasn't. And then, yeah, both Robin and Kody were like, well, just stick around until you die so that we all go to heaven. We're going to basically ignore you for the rest of our lives. But on paper, married. Not even on paper, in God's eyes. But the funny thing is, even to this moment, Kody is saying that he doesn't believe in this religion anymore and he doesn't believe in polygamy and all this control and stuff like that. Robin is pretending to still be into the religion, but Robin has already told us that she feels too scarred to ever go back to polygamy. So we know she doesn't want him to bring another wife. Anyway, all of this is so basically, it's like, it feels like a bunch of people who either don't know what they want or think we don't know what they want. I just can't tell. Do you not know what you want, or do you think we don't know what you want? I know what you guys want. Robin wants to be with Kody, period, or she wants to just be like Queen Bee. She just wanted everyone to like give her whatever. She definitely wanted to be out of poverty, and she definitely wanted nice things. She definitely wants dolls and enough money to buy those dolls. Kody wanted like kind of from the outside in good looking lifestyle. He wants a good looking lifestyle. And that means, I guess, a big home, and that means that dumb white Lexus, and that means like however he wants his wife to look or dress. But we know that, but they've never said it. We have to hear all this other shit about how, we have to hear Robin cry about what she will never have when it's like you never wanted to raise a bunch of other people's kids. I could get that she probably wanted less of Kody. And I can get that she probably was like, "Great, I'll be the youngest wife. I'll get in. He already has all these other people, so I'll have to do." I mean, yes, a lot of work right now as I try and seduce this man and make this man feel good about himself. It's the Lord's work, but my name is Robin. But at some point, once I get in, I'll just have a home. We'll be on TV. He'll come to me every third day, and yeah, like I have to deal with some bitchiness, but whatever. But yeah, she fast forward now, like really in all of her scenes, and they're obviously really hard to watch and tedious because that's her personality. She hates him. Every look is like, I can't stand this man. I mean, like, I just, it's just so interesting. So, yeah, after the dance scene, we go back to Maddie and Caleb. And this is where Caleb tells Axel, to protect the kids, and that Brush is their last name. And our final little bit is kind of around Christine and David. Christine and David have fought, we realize, off camera. And she just is like, we had a very interesting, lively conversation. And the conversation was about Peyton. And this begged a lot more information. But let me just talk about it. Basically, because I don't understand why it would be like a heated conversation at all. David thinks Peyton talks only in movie quotes, that he doesn't have what feels like a good sense of identity or self-expression, that maybe because of the trauma of what has happened, he's been running and chasing the idea of what has to be without sitting in and being in who he is as a man and how he expresses himself and what he truly thinks, without just going to like the IMDb trivia of movies he's watched ad nauseum with his brothers and sisters and pulling them out. It's interesting because we know he has this girlfriend that he met at church. Her name is Ava. And then David's like, yeah, he just only expresses himself in movie quotes. So we're like, yeah, everything he said to Ava was just like, doth, what light from yonder window breaks. I don't know why it's Romeo and Juliet. It's funny because later on, of course, Christine will quote Hamlet. I could have literally used any movie from the past century. I didn't. But yeah, like Peyton, okay, Peyton on the Reddit streets. A lot of people are like, Peyton's just like Kody. Peyton's Kody. Peyton's just like Kody. Peyton's Kody. And if we are already talking about a little bit of neurodivergence and a little bit of processing and situations and a little bit of ADHD, it actually would make really great sense sometimes for someone only to talk in movie quotes. Now, here's the thing. If push comes to shove and someone asks, Peyton or you, like how you honestly feel about something, if you cannot think of something without going to a movie quote, it's an interesting way that you relate to the world, because it feels like you have maybe a hard time understanding how you feel by just sitting with yourself and reading yourself. And that could be for a lot of reasons. Because it's cloudy up there, or it's too loud, or sometimes it feels like I sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's hard for me to feel my body sometimes. I really get this. The only thing about movie quotes is that I don't have the memory for movie quotes. I have a memory for songs. I rarely do movie quotes, but often I sing lyrics of songs, especially if someone has said something. And you know this about me because you have watched this video alone. If you are brand new to my channel, this video alone, I've sang Flashdance. I've sang, one of those, like I've already just stupidly sung like 4 songs for no stupid reason, right? It's like my brain works like that. Like I hear words and then the song just comes right away, and it's suddenly like and it's the tune, it's the rhythm. So it's like then it's like an earworm that comes in my head. I have to say it. And that must be like how Peyton is a little bit. And so I wonder if David is low key wanting Peyton to do some self research to see if he could use some therapeutic or cognitive behavioral therapy to unlock some of his self identity. That is what I was like. But Christine was like, my son's perfect. He's totally fine. And Christine hates this conversation, but Christine doesn't want to look bad on camera. And Christine also, David is doing this thing where David's like, see, we can have conversations, Christine, because I'm not like your husband, Kody. I want you to be able to express yourself, even though when she does, he's not very open to it. But I think that he thinks that also that he's right. But Janelle thinks he's always right. And Christine also at one point has to say she's, 52. So all of it's very interesting. So basically, David's like, with Kody, you had to like not talk and pretend and just be, but that's not who I want. I want you to be with me. I want you to talk and I want you to express yourself. And Christine's like, great. I also sometimes just don't want to. I just want to have fun. So I just want to escape. I just want to like be cool. Like I feel like I see both sides, but we get a lot of this last moment of like what the church was like. And it was this phrase that Christine uses, endure to the end. And that when you feel struggle, and this is kind of like what Kody said in his letter to Meri, and what kind of like what Christine said to David, polygamous culture teaches that the process of being in that family requires you to evolve because it requires you to get past, like this is what they say, petty things like jealousy or envy or competition or insecurity, because you're moving towards the heavenly gates with all the celestial angels and all your big family. Okay. But it's a lot of pain and it's a lot of sacrifice and it's a lot of not being happy, because some, like in this situation, we're supposed to assume that Robin is happy, but not even Robin's happy in this situation. There are no happy people in this situation. They're all stuck together, bonded for eternity. And Christine's like, how about instead of enduring to the end, how about enjoying? Like, there's a part of Christine that I do feel like she feels such relief that she got out while she did, wishes that maybe she got out earlier, that she gets to like enjoy and have peace in some part of her life after, but that nothing is perfect. And certainly probably her relationship with David isn't as perfect as, she probably would have wanted it to be, and or at least the audience to see. David, though, has had like a lot of experience because his two sisters were in polygamy, so he fucking hates it. He's like, I see the men, they love the fighting, they love the competition, they love, using that shit as punishment to control the women. And there's Janelle who, doesn't like David. I wonder if she also like told by the producers that this clip happened, or she watched it enough for Janelle to be like, look, I don't think it's important, or sorry, Janelle's like, I don't think it's great to paint a big brush stroke over a bunch of people. I think that some people are happy with polygamy. And I'm like, well, I wonder what the answer is. It ends with Janelle and, Maddie, like trying to see if Maddie can maybe have a baby someday soon. It's interesting, A, because I've never had a baby, and B, because Janelle has seen probably 1 billion births. That one, one morning she looks at Maddie and she's like, that baby is low. And you look different. Is that weekender bag packed, honey? Put the weekender bag with that extra compartment with the shoes right by the door, because I am looking you up and down, Maddie, and you look like you're about to push one out. It's nice though they get to have a birthing suite in the hospital, so they feel like safe about that. But yeah, like I want to be like, what looks different about her? I understand if you think the baby looks low, but like what has changed in your daughter in the one day that now makes you feel like today's the day of pregnancy? And I hate, like, is it she's more swollen, less swollen? Does she look tired? Does her hips look bigger? I mean, I just don't even know. Like, I just would love to know. Janelle's an expert. So is Christine. All right, that is the end of the episode. But can you believe what it feels like? Nothing happened, but then everything happened. because they can't ever film with each other anymore. And so instead they are just like going and talking about each other and then showing clips of what they said to everyone else so that they can actually say something honest. Which is funny because for so long we watched them all on a couch never really saying anything honest, and now it's all we get. They're never together. They're always honest, as opposed to, again, always together, never honest. Honey, they are enjoying, they're not enduring. Anyway, what do you guys think of the ep? And are you excited about the showdown of showdowns, Coyote Pass? Meow, meow, meow. Boo, 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 boo. Meow, meow, meow. Boo, 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 boo. I can't whistle. I can't do it. But I'm excited to talk about Toe with you guys tomorrow and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives dropping. If you want more, you can absolutely get more. Have you guys subscribed to my Substack? I totally would appreciate if you haven't yet. Go to Substack, look up Chris Farah. It's really, really fun. I enjoy writing like long form stuff. Really, like I think that it's like what it's I like doing it, and I feel like especially with, for instance, I really enjoyed writing my McKelty and eyebrows thing. You can't have like all of the nuance and all of the like links and stuff like that. So make sure you go subscribe, read my McKelty eyebrows manifesto if you haven't yet, Mindful Brows. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am at Chris L. Farah on Instagram and at Chris L. Farah on TikTok. I think I'm going to do a reading on that letter for Kody for TikTok. I think it has to happen, and I have to find I have to like layer. The thing about my hair is that I have the perfect Kody hair right now. If I can somehow layer some curly cues in such a way, obviously they're not as blonde. I'm not as blonde, but if I can just like layer a curly cue and do a reading, I might do that for TikTok. So make sure that you, if you don't mind, follow me on those social medias. I'm also on Facebook. My page is Chris Farah and my group is Vanity Farah. So all of that exists. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy holidays. I've said that. Did you watch the last ep of Social Forces? Basically all Kody content. No, I haven't yet. I'm so excited to. No, I should have, but I'm a little behind. So I'm now like episode 5. I think that's episode 6 or something. I'm one behind. Yeah, isn't it? It's so funny. Gab is called. Were you here when I called it Army with the Stars? That's what that is. Enlist with the Stars. Anyway, such a wild show. The way they break them down. Anyway, I was happy to see Gia on it though. All right, my babes. I love you guys so much. Take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.